This April, a community engagement effort began as part of the North Kingstown School District Facilities Master Plan. A survey was distributed to over 5,000 emails, and an open invitation to 2 community engagement sessions was advertised. These sessions took place on May 27th and 28th. The survey is still open. In this presentation, we will review the outcomes of those efforts so far. We will also provide a little bit of information regarding the next public engagement session on May 23rd. First, we'll look at the survey responses. The charts on these slides reflect the survey responses as of April 28th. Since that time, we have received additional survey responses. If you have not submitted your responses to the survey, there's still time. The survey will remain open until May 20th. Any new responses received prior to May 21st will be reviewed and presented at the May 23rd meeting. The first question in the survey asked, what are the strengths of the North Kingstown School District facilities? Overwhelmingly, the 2 highest responses were the outdoor facilities at each of the schools, as well as the high school. Clean and well-maintained facilities was the 3rd most popular answer, and neighborhood schools was the 4th. When asked about the challenges facing the North Kingstown School District facilities, most respondents felt that the middle schools, and specifically Wickford Middle School, were the most important needs to be addressed. The 2nd most popular response was the age and general outdated nature of the school buildings. Folks identified recreational and outdoor facility spaces, as well as space issues and overcrowding, as the 3rd biggest challenge facing the district. Other topics that were repeatedly mentioned included the lack of certain types of educational spaces in particular buildings, general maintenance, a need to improve conditions at the elementary schools, parking and traffic, the open classrooms at Fishing Cove, Stony Lane, and Quidnesset, heating and cooling issues, and having equitable facilities across the district. Respondents identified modernizing the existing buildings as the #1 opportunity for improving the district's facilities. Updating and improving the exterior grounds was the 2nd most common response, and consolidating the middle schools into one building was the 3rd most common response. Other was the next biggest category. This captures topics that had only 1 mention, whereas the other categories reflected 2 or more mentions. Updating or replacing Wickford Middle School was the 5th category, followed by the consolidation of the elementary schools, closing off open classrooms in the district, and expanding the elementaries. Lastly, we asked what questions people had about the North Kingstown School District facilities. The questions on this slide are the most common ones. I'll go through and answer them quickly. Although they are well-maintained, clean, and safe, North Kingstown's facilities are out of date due to a lack of funding. In order to pay for extensive renovations, a bond must be passed to finance the costs. The last bond approved was for $13 million. While that sounds like a lot of money, $13 million does not go very far when it's spread out over 8 large facilities. The resources and budget for this project will be determined by the amount of money the town is willing to go to bond for and what the voters will vote for. Whether or not the buildings are able to be air conditioned and the cost associated with that work will be determined as part of the facilities assessment scheduled to happen district-wide this summer. This assessment will look at the structural, mechanical, and other physical conditions of the buildings to determine their useful life and what improvements are needed. The RIDE school construction process is intended to fund construction of improved educational spaces that are intended to better serve students. All projects approved by RIDE must prioritize educational spaces and student needs. Administrative spaces may be part of those projects, but standalone administrative buildings are not eligible for RIDE reimbursement. Student engagement will play an important role in the design of whatever spaces are determined to be part of the master plan scope. However, the scope must be established first. Students are encouraged to attend the May 23rd meeting to participate in the master plan discussion. The scope of the final master plan has not yet been decided. Critical to this decision is input from the community. The financing of the master plan will be determined by town vote. Therefore, it is important that the master plan reflect the input of the community. This community engagement process will help to determine what the preferred master plan will be. This master plan will recommend improvements district-wide, but is mainly focused on major renovations or new construction at the middle school level for several reasons. First, the middle schools represent the greatest deficiencies and the starkest inequity, particularly given the age and condition of Wickford Middle School. Second, a consolidation of middle school facilities will open up new possibilities for the elementary schools in the future, either by providing swing space while the existing elementaries are renovated, or providing sites for new future schools. RIDE requests that these master plan submissions occur every 5 years, so the elementary schools should be addressed in the next master plan iteration. The first community engagement session was held on April 27th at the high school. The session focused on the future of North Kingstown's middle schools. The session began with a review of the survey responses, followed by an overview of the master plan analyses findings. You can review these findings by watching the videos posted on the district's Facilities Master Plan webpage. The presentation also introduced 2 ideas for discussion. The first was the question of should North Kingstown have 1 middle school or 2, and the second question looked at whether or not 5th grade should move to the middle school. The presentation also covered what a 5 through 8 configuration would look like. A video describing these options is available on the district website. After the presentation, attendees moved to the cafeteria to discuss the benefits and challenges surrounding these 2 ideas. With regard to consolidating to 1 middle school, participants noted concerns regarding the length of the commute to that school, should it not be centrally located in the district, but recognized that it provided benefits such as district equity, operational savings, and opening up sites for new school building opportunities. The idea of moving grade 5 to the middle school concerned participants, as they felt grade 5 students were not developmentally mature enough to be included in middle school, and felt the loss of recess would be a concern. Additionally, it was noted that previous suggestions to move grade 5 to the middle school had not been well received by the community. The session ended with a prioritization exercise. Each participant was given 10 dots to assign however they wanted to the 4 middle school options presented. Participants showed strong support for 1 6 through 8 middle school, with the 2 6 through 8 middle school option coming in second. The next night, a second session was held. This session began the same as the first, with a review of the general master plan findings. The presentation and subsequent discussion then focused on the benefits and challenges of elementary school consolidation, as well as the benefits and challenges of having an early childhood center that concentrates pre-K and potentially kindergarten as well into one location, versus having those spaces distributed throughout the elementary schools in the district. Participants identified several concerns about consolidating the elementary schools, largely pertaining to the potential negative impact that would result from having more students in fewer locations. Regarding the idea of an early childhood center, participants felt it would be a loss to have kindergarten moved out of the elementaries, but did identify potential for pre-K to be included at a location other than the elementary level, namely the middle school. The topic of pre-K at the middle school was discussed toward the end of the session. Participants liked the idea of having pre-K on the middle school site, but operating as a separate school, with separate facilities, schedule, and playground, perhaps only connected to the middle school by a single corridor. This connection could allow for opportunities for the preschool to have limited access to facilities such as the media center, and allow for crossover programs like Book Buddies, where middle school students could come and read to the pre-K students. This could provide supervised mentorship opportunities between the pre-K and the middle school students. Unlike 5th grade, pre-K students would never be unsupervised in situations with middle school students, as pre-K programs and students are naturally more supervised than 5th graders. Pre-K students would not ride the same bus or eat in the cafeteria as middle school students. Our next community session is scheduled for May 23rd at 6:30 p.m. at the North Kingstown High School. At this session, 3 master plan options will be presented. After the options are presented, there will be opportunity for discussion about the 3 options, and participants will be encouraged to participate in a prioritization exercise. If you have not done so already, I invite you to take a moment to watch the informational videos provided on the district website. New videos have been recently added as well. The survey will remain open until May 20th, so please take a moment to fill it out. I look forward to seeing you on May 23rd.